go.
I told you the story as well. With the cards. When I first met him.
Save it.
Right, ready?
Oh yeah, I just remembered the card. I've just remembered the
Alright, hold
card.
on. Real as it gets, episode 9. I'm your host, Callum Hickey, and today I have with me Jay Brockway and Niko Algieri. Starting off as a personal trainer, they were two of my mentors that got me very, very confident as a PT. But I'll let you lot tell the story. It's your show today. So, how do we know each other? Where does it go?
Well, it started with me, didn't it? It was, so we were in the gym called the Training House,
Yeah.
and I was doing about 15, okay, not 15, maybe about 12 clients a day.
Yeah.
And you would walk in with your mates, wouldn't you? Like 10 of
The
you. and
flashlight,
you'd
yeah.
all
Swearing.
take the squat rack for about 4 hours. Literally 4
Yeah.
hours.
The good days. Yeah.
And then I don't know how you met him. You must have come into the...
No, so he was through you. I remember I used to see you two killing it with PT, and I approached you about PT because I remember seeing you do like 10 clients in one day, and I thought, fuck, how do I do that? Come up to you, and you was like, look, my brother's good with getting you out there and doing marketing. Then I come up to you, I met you in there one day, and he was like, oh, Nick, this is Callum. He's had his personal training qualification, it's just gathering dust. How does he enter the fitness world kind of thing? And you was proper nice for the first like 2 minutes. He was like, yeah, I'll get your cards made up, mate. I can do all that. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, what a fucking nice guy. Cheers. And he was like, just give me your mum's number for it. And I didn't know how to take him. I was like, what? He's like, I'm just joking. And yeah, we stayed in touch through there. And do you remember the card you got made up for me?
Was it the?
They were dark grey with yellow writing across. I've still got a box of them at
Yes.
home. Dark grey, it's like, what's your fitness goal? And it's got loads of different ones over them. And then did fuck all with them. I'm still useless. I'm still, you know,
Yeah, I
that
did.
sort of stuff. Yeah, useless with that. And yeah, from there, I still wasn't working with you lot for about probably a year or two, was I?
Yeah, it was... No, it would have been 2, because... No, another year, because then when I left the Training House, then me and Nico obviously set up Equilibrium, which we'll explain in a second,
Yeah.
and then...
The journey.
And then you came on board with us from there then, about 2 years into our Equilibrium journey.
Yeah, that's what it was. So where was I working before that? I was doing boot camps at Sean's
Yes.
part time, which I loved, and then I was doing a HIIT class up in St John's Wood, which was nice as well. It was a nice little balance. I was fucking mental for training, and so I got all my training in, a little bit of part-time work. And then Sean shut down.
Yeah.
Just before Sean shut down, you lot had gone to Notting Hill and opened EQ, first EQ, the original EQ. And even then, it was in that gap, wasn't it? I was lost as fuck, man. I was like,
Yeah.
didn't have the bottle to come and train with you lot straight away and work with you lot. So then I was looking elsewhere in the fitness industry, but then I was a bit of a princess, really. I was like, no, I'm not going to a commercial gym. I'm not going to clean up weights after people for a shitty wage. I refused. And I had it in my head, I'll find something better. Where did I go from there? And then I was working in the American school up in St John's Wood. It was only like 20, 30 hours, but I hated every fucking minute of it. Every minute. I think it was classed as a recreational assistant, lifeguarding, working on the gym floor. The guy who sold me the dream said I was going to be doing loads of PT. In a year or so, I didn't get one PT there. None. Their marketing was shocking for like the whole gym. And then I come to train with Jay one day at your Notting Hill studio, and he saw it in me. He was like, Cal, you're not yourself, man. What's the matter? I was like, I'm just anxious, man. I hate going into that job. I really fucking hate it. He was like, grab a pair of balls, go and quit. That gives you about a month's notice. Come and shadow me and Nico, and we guarantee we'll get you the first amount of clients that matches up to your wage now that you're on, so you're not losing out. And I did, and the rest was history from there. And I come to Notting Hill, and then that's where our journey began.
Indeed, this is the quietest I've been for about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, you okay?
For 3 minutes, I'm absolutely okay. I'm just enjoying my silence for a bit. I'm watching.
Me too.
Watching my 2 little kids who have grown into superstar trainers actually just wax lyrical about their careers. The thing you said about being a princess, Carl, I don't agree with that. When I first qualified as a PT 12 to 13 years ago now, that's the promise I made myself.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going into a Fitness First or a David Lloyd or
Yeah.
whatever.
It's because they rub you blind, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's not that, Carl. It's just like, it depends, right? In this industry, as a PT, it's really hard to stand out, as you know. So you're either going to be a sheep and and follow everything everyone tells you, because you do a PT course and they're like, right, you have to do it this way. You have to go and learn your trade, go to a gym, clean the gym floor, watch other PTs, do your fitness inductions for new clients and develop yourself from there. No. Like, if you've got your own belief structure or the way you want to train people, do that immediately. You might get one client, but that's one. He'll tell another one. He'll tell another three. He'll tell another five, and that's kind of how me and Jay did it. But we'll talk about that more in a minute. But yeah, no, the princess thing. I think that's just believing.
And I'm not shitting on people that do it, but it's just, I know my time would be so full up with just cleaning weights after people and doing all the programming, the basic programming that you're supposed to do as a gym instructor. I know myself, I wouldn't have found the commitment to then go off and build my own PT business. So I just refused. I refused to even do it, and then it worked out well for me. It worked out really well for me, but there was that time I was lost. And if it weren't for you lot sort of going, just fucking come and shadow us and get in the mix. Don't be scared and do it. Who knows? I don't know where I'd be. Honestly, I don't know.
Well, you need to meet those type of people. Someone always needs to blaze the trail for you in front of you. So, well, not always, but sometimes you need that. I'm just thinking back now, actually, saying I wasn't going to go into one of those gyms as part of our test at the training room, because I trained my PT course at the training room, which, to be honest with you, wasn't that good. They sent me for an interview at a David Lloyd in Piccadilly. Was it David Lloyd? Might have been Fitness First. Anyway, right, so I turn up and they say, make sure you're in a shirt and tie.
Yeah.
So I'm in shirt and tie and trousers and shoes. Jay, this is so fucking awful. And when I think of the knobhead, now that I sat down in front of you, this big muscly dude, he's like, right, so this is how much we charge a month, this is what we're expecting from you, we want you to go on the gym floor, you develop your own sales by approaching people, and that's part of your interview now. When it tests, go onto the floor now and get me 2 numbers for PT. I'm like, mate, I'm in a shirt and tie. He was like, yeah. Is that a problem? I was like,
here we go.
No, it isn't a problem. So I went up onto the gym floor in Fitness First in Piccadilly, a 26-year-old, not a feckin' clue what I was doing. And I walked up to people in the gym in a shirt and tie, and I managed to get 3 numbers.
Yes, shut him up.
And I was like, yeah, I got him. And he was like, mate, like, I love it. When you pass, when can you start? I was never contacted him back. You kidding me?
That is madness.
Absolute madness. You imagine how I was like totally flushed and embarrassed, but I did it, and it was awful. And I just think about PTs now, right? That like the old style of walking up to someone on a treadmill.
Yeah, can I
going,
help you?
are you interested in, doing a bit of a session? Oh my God, no.
It's embarrassing.
It's sad because
Pressure them into a sale.
I mean, this day and age, you can't just walk up to people in a gym and have that approach. It's tough, isn't
That's
it?
it,
Like,
rude.
you
If
really
I just stop
can't.
in their mid-set, you could be...
Excuse me,
fuck
mate.
off,
Like,
mate.
exactly, and they get annoyed by it. And I feel sorry for, like you said, about didn't want to go in and clean the gym. And you can say that, okay, that's part of the trade, so to speak. But it isn't. It isn't, because you can fall down a hole and keep going down that hole without realising that you're not working on your people skills, you're not working on your delivery of how you're, interpreting technique or whatever it is that you might have read in a book. But if you can't do that on a client, then what good is it? And you've got no one to mentor you in that. So when you do your PT course,
Because you went from labouring.
yeah, of course.
London,
And so I came up and I did a 6-week intense course, right? So in that 6-week intense course, I passed my course, and as soon as you pass, you get to a point and you go, shit, what do I do now?
Yeah, you're lost for that first.
You're like, I'm qualified. You wake up the next day and you go,
it's because you think when you qualify, you're like, I'm going to have clients
yeah,
fucking come
exactly.
down my arse, mate.
But nobody knows who you are or what
busy.
you're doing, and you're not confident. And the funny thing is, when you do a course, I get it. It's your driving test, 10 to 2 on the steering wheel, and you feed the steering wheel. But if I walk up to someone and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the hardest right now, how would you feel? Someone would go,
And
I'm
someone
sorry,
that don't
what?
want to train, they'd go 10.
Yeah.
Like, this is hard. All of it's hard.
That's not it. There is a real world out there, so
Yeah.
it's very, very tough. And I know the times are changing, and there's some phenomenal PT courses out there. But yeah, I can understand why you were in that situation at that time when you approached this, because it is not easy.
So
It's
tell
tough.
me, when you come down to London, that journey, linking into Niko, and then we'll go back to EQ
Okay.
about with the TRX and how I got into TRX as well with you.
So my journey, I left school at 15, no GCSEs, just left school, hated it, didn't like it. And my father owned a successful business, a building firm. So I worked for him from 15 to 20. Then I phoned Niko one night and I just said, Niko, I can't do this anymore. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to be here. So I came up to London.
Tell the truth. You phoned me in what capacity, in what state?
Oh yeah, I was
Pissed.
very, very drunk. With a
So-
chips, burger, cheese, and tomato sauce.
Innit?
So-
Don't try to sound
so-
like
yeah,
posh here.
But no, it's a great
It's as
story.
real as
Yeah,
it gets.
he's
Burger
missed out a real
sauce down
cool
your
bit, right?
fucking
So,
mush.
I've been a PT for how long, Jay? I don't know, maybe
Oh,
4 or 5 years,
Yeah,
maybe,
something
was
like
it?
that,
You was already in London, obviously.
I was already in London,
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like someone blazing the trail for you.
Yeah.
Like it's sometimes it helps if you need that,
Massively.
right? And Jay needed that because you got to remember, like he's at that time between 15 to 19, he's been in school, dyslexic, nervous, scared of everything, scared of being challenged academically. To then go on a building business and work with men and develop his personality and becoming a man
Yeah.
very, very fast. In the meantime, I'm in London, failing in media and then becoming a personal trainer and then like rising really fast because it just becomes natural to me. And then that little different development is what makes mine and Jay's relationship so special. But I'm out hammered in Piccadilly Circus because where am I? I'm coming out of some West End nightclub as usual, having drunk vodka martinis, not knowing what is in a vodka
Yeah.
and martini. Anyway, Jay phones me and then and he's just like, I can't do this. But I'll let you carry on, Jay. But I need you to know out there that Jay was fucking hammered.
So then I come up to London for a weekend and I go on a night out and I enjoy it. And then I phoned my mum and I said to my mum, I really enjoyed it. But at the time I had pitched a house because I bought a house when I was 20, repossessed. So at the time then, when I approached my mum and dad, I said to them, look, I would like to buy this house, but I know I can only afford this house right now. So in time, when I sell this house, can you lend me money? We're fortunate to be able to do that. Then when I sell my house in time, I can then give you that money as a down payment for the one that I truly wanted.
Yeah.
So I'd moved into this property and I moved in with my friends and it was going a little bit crazy and loose as you do when you're 19. Not so much me, more my mates to be fair. And I know that my mum wanted them out because it was causing havoc because like honestly the neighbours were calling late at night and yeah, it was just getting a bit silly. And she was like, well, do you think you could move there? And at the time I think she was doing this purely to get me out of the house, thinking, we'll send him to London for 3 weeks and he'll come back. So I jump on a car and I come to London and I obviously never go back. So I'm now 9 years in. But then I had to go back to school, which was the problem. So I was like, shit, here we go. So I jump on a 6-week intense course and it's role play and it's back to reading and writing. The first day I go in, I had to write my name. Couldn't write my name. I was like, holy shit. I hadn't held a pen in 5 years. Because I was just like, fuck. And then, obviously, a funny story going through my PT course. Remember it, Niko, when I was... so basically, we were doing, what did I have? Anatomy and physiology test. And I failed it the first time. And then the second time, we're doing so much the night before. But the following morning, there was also the nutrition part of it too.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, let me just do all the anatomy and physiology. We won't even try and go through the nutrition. Let's just try pin it down. So we had 4 pieces of paper on the wall, then we had blue tack to the wall. And I walked in the next day and I spent all night like reading it, writing it, like trying to remember it in my brain. And they were like, oh Jay, do you just want to do the anatomy and physiology? I was like, nah, I'll have a go at the nutrition. Bugger me. I failed the anatomy and physiology again and I passed the nutrition the first time.
Mad.
Like weird. And then the third time then I got past the anatomy and I was like, oh God, thank God for that. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be a heart surgeon. You're teaching people how to move, right? But again, you've got to do what you've got to do. So then I ended up passing my course. Then I went and taught at Bootcamp Pilates, which is a reformer Pilates company where Niko used to work. Yeah. And then I was there for 16 months, 2-week wait list on my classes, 10 to 12 people on the wait list with a 12-person class. So it was flying. It was doing really well.
It's still mad to think that you two taught bootcamp.
I know, right?
On reformers.
And then from there, I left from there, and then that's where we came into path because I went to the training house, and then my clients from Bootcamp Pilates came into the one-to-one with me.
You told me to go Bootcamp Pilates before I even come on with you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
I went and done a little trial and was like, I can't see myself.
So that's where I got my clients from, and then I built my own business from there. Then I met you. Then I also got you a role at Bootcamp at the time, and then
Geordie
I left Bootcamp, and then obviously me and Niko set up Equilibrium. I just drove past this gym one day. Well, not even a gym; it was just a room, and I was like, "Oh, look at that!" Pulled over, no idea about business or anything like just pure belief. So I sent a photo to Niko. Remember Niko? And you're like, fuck it, call them.
Yeah.
So I called them. Literally, that was it. I was like, what do you think about it? He goes, fuck it, call them.
Yeah.
That was it. I was like, okay, cool. Called
then
them,
you took
walked
on a
in.
proper
He didn't even
fucking
come.
legend.
He didn't even come. I walked in, I was
you
like,
said go for it.
no,
Yeah,
so
just lift
yeah,
it
I
up,
viewed
so.
it. I viewed it with him. And what he was supposed to come with me, he didn't come. He goes, do you think it'll work? I was like, yeah.
Go on.
So
Stick
we were
to
going to
your
go
word.
in at the time, and then long story short, on that one, we ended up getting this property, and then we obviously built Equilibrium with no investors, not knowing what a business plan was. Our business plan was, how many clients you got? How many clients you got?
Yeah.
In a calculator. There you go. We can
And then
afford
that's where
rent.
you wanted
Let's
to
go.
first build the TRX class.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Equilibrium was formed, and then I'll pause there. I'll let Niko go, and then we can
Yeah, yeah.
bring the
Talk
Equilibrium
about when you
journey
took on
from
the
there.
fucking legend, then we'll go from there.
Where do you want me to go from, Carl? You want me to go from the start, mate?
No, go from why you wanted to do a TRX class. Why you so
God,
your faith in TRX was so strong that you thought, fuck it, I'm going to open one of the only TRX studios. It was the only TRX studio in London,
I've
right?
talked about this loads of times. So it's like, it's an interesting story, Carl, because go back to the Reformer Pilates studio. So Jay's a little bit more humble than I am, right? But
No.
Jay's
is he?
just as awesome at everything that the brothers can be, right? But I was like an athletics champion, a black belt in kickboxing, a semi-professional footballer, as was Jay, and brought that all to London, went into media, absolutely failed, hated it. Was like thinking about honestly killing myself because I was that bored and depressed. Then I did the PT course, then I learned to be a Reformer Pilates instructor. And then it was Reformer Pilates and what I learned there and how to cue people and how to get people to move correctly. And once my father had given me a TRX for free, I don't know what the fuck it was, chucked it in the back of my car, Googled it, saw Randy Hetrick and Fraser Quelch doing this on San Francisco Bay, I think up a lamppost or a tree or something like that, and just looked at it and lightning bolt knew for some reason that I could do that better than anybody in the world. I just knew. And so I hung it up in a tree in Hyde Park, stood in the rain for 8 hours a day, doing loads of clients. Then took it into gyms, put it on cross cable machines with loads of knobhead PTs looking at me thinking, what is this twat
What's he doing with that fucking silly
what's he
strap?
doing with his little straps? Dude, just mincing around with his clients. And, you know, I had more clients than they did, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And Jay came up, and Jay was the catalyst for getting a studio, because I had my own idea of doing Reformer and TRX, which I've actually seen someone do, back on track Pilates in Ireland, or Joanne Mills. But anyway, I failed to get studios because of loads of reasons. And then Jay finds this little studio, and we start this little magical thing. And why did we start the TRX class, Jay? I don't know. I just had this idea to run a class, or we wanted to run a class. We knew we could do something. But as this, we nailed this magical layout, and I still remember now. So if anybody wants to copy it, it's 1.5 meters apart, left to right, and you can get 90 centimeters valley walkway in between.
It's wicked.
Multiple TRX. Yeah,
It
it
was
was
a vibe.
wicked.
It was a vibe,
And
man.
we just nailed it straight off the bat. I remember the first class, and it was just like me and Jay didn't have a real plan for it. We just knew we wanted to go lower body, core, upper, and in that roller coaster throughout the class, and it worked. We had packed classes every
All the time.
and
Every
it was
weekend
just-
as well. Fucking hell.
it's just lunacy.
Yeah.
It's absolute lunacy. And we just created this flow. And it came from Reformer Pilates because me and Jay had been taught, right, you're doing a lunge on the carriage, then rotate, then you're doing standing in a thigh, then rotate that way, and you're doing a forward lunge, then take it into chest. So you're always flowing. There's no excuse to not move.
Okay.
And
makes
that's what we
sense.
did
You
at
always just say that,
TRX.
just make sure it flows. Whether it's a PT or what, make sure the movements complement each other. Make
Yeah,
sure it flows.
and it flows, and you can just keep a person moving without destroying them, Carl. Right? So we can train you for 45 minutes on the TRX without having you rest. You can rest for like 20, 30 seconds, but generally not breaking for a long time and just keeping it flowing and flowing and flowing. And it was just magic, and people loved it, but nobody else was doing it. And people, do you know what? Still don't do it. They teach a TRX class, and they throw bodyweight moves into it. Well, it's not a TRX class then, is it? Or they throw a kettlebell into it, or they come off and they add another piece of equipment into it. Well, that's not a pure TRX class for me. And we were the only ones doing it. And then, you know, Equilibrium becomes this magical thing where we managed to train all these celebrities like Ellie Goulding and Nicole Scherzinger and Rita Ora and BB Rexa, and Jay starts training, you know, I think 6
Heavyweight
to
boxers,
7
yeah.
professional
Who
boxers.
did you have? Isaac, Dillian, who else? In there?
Isaac Chamberlain,
Johnny
Dylan White,
Nelson.
Johnny Nelson, Ashley Theophane, Jake Ball, Leo McKenzie.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, interesting times.
all off reputation. So you remember, like, there's all these PTs like gabbing on about having strength and conditioning level 1, level 2, level flipping Z, right? And you know, fabulous because they know all this stuff. But it's always not always what you can read and what you can write. It's what you can teach and how you can read a human. And I think that's what me and Jay have always done. You see the person in front of you, and you see their, you know, the imbalances, their stiffnesses, their weaknesses, their pros and cons in their body, and you work at that, and you train the personality as well. Because some people are, you know, like you, Callum, nervous.
Yeah.
You're a massive man. Look at the size of you, right? If I looked like you, I'd be walking down the street ultra confident all the time, but you weren't. But you weren't.
No, not with that.
When we approached you about PT, you
fucking pantsed it.
You wanted to run away from us.
100%.
And it's just approaching different personalities. And you know, I'm the big, cocky, egotistical idiot, and Jay is the silent, you know, stoic, more general type, and that works for most people. That yin and yang, and that's what we made.
As we were just saying before we got in there, I turned you down the first time, didn't I?
Twice.
Yeah,
Twice. No, the second time I come
you came down the second time.
Yeah,
for people like we had to batter Callum with requests, so trying to get him in, and then
come and teach TRX. We'll teach you it. I'm like, I don't know enough, because I was coming from bodybuilding only.
Yeah.
Little bit of HIIT, and we just started like the buzz of CrossFit and all that, like that people are just getting onto now. Anyway, everyone's all at CrossFit now. But I was doing all that, and TRX I knew fuck all about, nothing. And then obviously after that American school thing, and I said to you, you was like, right, leave, and I started shadowing you lot. I weren't actually shadowing you lot on TRX classes. I was doing PT and throwing the TRX in the PT, and you taught me like running them through the foundations on the TRX. And then I got my confidence, but then it was whacked out again. Do you remember when we was having a meal, me, you and Paul?
Yeah.
And you was like, Cal, you're smashing it on the PT. Why don't you fucking level up now and teach a class? And I was like, no, I can't do it. I don't know enough about it. It's like you teach clients it every single day. All you've got to do is teach 10 to 11 in a class with some music on and make it flow. And again, dragged it on. But I'm going to say 2 stories actually. When you was both teaching me, it was fucking embarrassing. But it was you lot's way of teaching me, and it worked, yeah? So we'll go Niko's one first. Niko does this thing called the literal client, right? So if he says, teach me, I'm going to be the dumbest person ever, but you have to break it down to me, sort of thing, so I understand it. So if I was to say, right, grab the handles, he'd grab the handles, but he wouldn't grab it at the right length. Then I'd say, drop into a squat, and he would literally go woof and just duck himself down straight to the floor. Right, walk yourself in, collapse yourself into the TRX. He would go boom, throw himself on the floor. And I was like, what the fuck am I missing? Why am I not getting this? Why am I not getting this? And you'd done it in front of another influencer that was there. Do you remember?
Yes.
Someone who's recognised. And I was like, oh man, this is embarrassing. But he made me do it and do it and do it until I got the teaching right quickly with just the foundations of row, squat and lunge. And then, so that was the beginning. And then when it was Jay's time to take over and teach me how to teach a class, I'll never forget the day, man. Fucking hell, I broke out in angry sweats.
Yeah, I remember.
It was just me, you and Luke in the studio. Luke was tucked away in the corner on his laptop, just pretending he weren't listening and probably laughing behind his laptop to how embarrassed I was getting. There was a row of TRXs, no one was in the room, just Jay. And Jay was like, I want you to teach 5 minutes of a class like everyone's here. So you just got past the warm-up, take them through that first phase, go. And I'm, what do you mean go? There's no one here. Yeah, go, teach it like there's people here. I'm like, yeah, but there's no one here, what am I supposed to say? Just go and we'll go over it each time. As I was, you ever seen Whiplash?
Yes.
It was like, not my fucking tempo.
Yeah.
That's what it was like, not my tempo. And I was breaking down, I was like, Jay, this is killing me. We was there for about an hour or 2. And yeah, towards the end, I was teaching it like people were there. I was like, hips up in a plank, fall back into that row, chest up, everything. And when it came to teaching the class that Saturday, I think we was doing the practice on like Tuesday, Wednesday. Taught that Saturday, Cassandra Gracie was in one of my first class, all the old school lot, the proper lot. And I was fucking buzzing, man. I nailed it, and I thought I needed that sort of beating to learn kind of thing.
Yeah.
We've had
I'll never forget that. Never forget it.
We've had those methods questioned a few times through the years, Cal. But
they work, man.
Of course they do. It's like, that's how you know, they say that people learn in different ways, but when you are put under pressure and given the right tools beforehand, it either comes out or it doesn't, and then you just keep practicing and practicing and
but
practicing.
if it does come out, it comes out good.
Push and push and push and push. Well, look,
I was
look how
buzzing.
well you're doing now, Cal.
Yeah, I'd like to have a crack at teaching TRX again, just for a laugh.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we do it as well is because we take away the powers of your arms and your legs, so that it becomes your enunciation, your vocabulary, right? You control their joints, you teach them their muscle groups, and you control them like puppets, as we say now.
That's another
right?
method you done. Remember the blindfold?
Close your eyes.
Yeah, close your eyes and
exactly.
teach
So
me a row. That was
point
good.
is, okay, let's talk physical class. If you're teaching a physical class and everyone's on every piece of equipment, and you don't have that equipment, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Well, you've got to speak it, right? So if you can enunciate it into everybody in that room with the quality of educating them via joints and muscle groups and slowing it down and making them understand, then when you do get a piece of equipment in your hands and you get to physically show them, you're going to be even more powerful. So it's just more skills and tools to go and teach that class physically or digitally like we do now. But what we weren't realizing, which we'll get to in a second, I'm guessing, is everything that we were doing at that time has all evolved.
Yeah,
and
look at the other trainers you took on
leading to
and
what
how
we do
well
now.
they're doing as well.
Exactly.
Proof is in the pudding.
It's horrible, and it's like, oh my god, it feels like everyone's just here when you like do it, and you're like, oh my god.
Right.
But when you do, you've got to feel it. What I say to trainers now, when I train the guys now, you have to predict the future of this next 60 seconds. What's about to happen? When you're going to start to fatigue? What have you got to think about when you do start to fatigue? So that you're ahead. You know what moves are coming because it's written on the board. You've programmed it. So in my opinion, there is no reason why you shouldn't know what's about to come. So when you know what's about to come, you can give your soul to that client, and they will never leave you, whether it be physical or whether it be digital, whatever it is, in my opinion. And that's why I think it's become so successful.
Yeah. Mate, them methods helped me fucking massively, man. They really did.
Yeah.
Because I was saying this to you just before we got here. If I was out in a party with you lot drinking, I'd have no problem being the life of the party.
Yeah.
I'd be trying to be that funny bastard all night, no problem. But public speaking, going into the PT world, man, not anymore. Now I love it. If I got a full class, or I got loads of people at an event or whatever, I love it. I'm trying to make them eat out the palm of my hand. I just think, right, I want you to know why you're here and understand why you're here, and you're enjoying it. You're enjoying my company, you're enjoying me as a trainer. I love that. But then, oh man, it was terrifying.
Yeah, it's
It
scary.
fucking helped me, man.
Good.
I remember my first PT in the park. I was like, oh my god. So we ran around the park. I was like, oh my
I
god.
remember-
oh my god, oh my god. It was Anya.
I remember the client telling me about your first
Yeah, it was
PT.
awful. It was
Was it Anya?
awful. I was like,
Anya, she was one of my
shit.
first at your studio as well. She's a ledge.
Anya's an
Awful.
She's a ledge.
But again, it's just you've got to learn. But when you've got someone who can
Yeah.
help you, so the tools that we give you, you think, oh my god.
Yeah.
But where I'm like, trust me, if I had this before my first PT, oh, it'd have been fine.
It was hard because I loved you both, but at that time I hated you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, they are.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm stressing.
It feels like bullying.
Yeah, it does.
It does
feels
feel like bullying, but
I'm-
we're constantly on you because we see something in you.
Yeah.
And like we've had people like cry, and we've not
I
really
remember-
pushed
yeah,
them.
I've seen a few trainers.
I remember I pushed that one
Yeah,
girl
yeah,
at one
yeah.
time when we were training people. Like people won't know this when we designed our concept for Equilibrium 2, the big studio at King's Cross. We pushed those trainers to within an inch of their life.
We was
to-
like 6, 9, like what was it, 6 months of intense
yeah,
training.
yeah.
Three
Like,
times-
we
three
made,
times a
we
week,
and
made
it was
you
like-
guys phenomenal. Like you trained.
That was the
every
more
single-
like the no tempo.
Yeah, and that's
whiplash,
what
that was-
training should be
yeah.
like. Not let's try and roll out people as quickly as possible. You need to spend some time with trainers to actually make them the high level quality. Well, that me and Jay are and expect. You got to remember, I've put 12 to 13 years in. Jay's put 9 years in. How are you going to do it in 6 weeks?
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah.
So we battered these people. I remember this one girl whose name I won't bring up. She was so nervous and quiet, and she was great, and I just saw something in her, so I pushed her and pushed
And
her.
she was blind.
And she had tears in her eyes,
Yeah.
and I kept pushing her, and then she bit back at me.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we wanted.
I remember that.
And then she was
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
And then she was fine. And then she was coaching fine and coaching fine and coaching fine. She went in a different direction in the end, but
She
I
did.
bet you she never forgets that lesson.
Nah, she
and-
still stays in touch. She's lovely,
yeah,
man. She's
and
doing
still,
really well.
still confident. So, there's been loads of things. So, like we mentioned, Luke Buttle. Luke Buttle's a fantastic personal trainer and class trainer, and we battered Luke, didn't we? Like, I made him coach with his eyes closed, facing away from us, loads of times. And that literal trainer thing, Cal, like being taken completely literally,
Yeah.
to make you like.
Because some
Jason,
clients do. You had a point. Like some clients will go, if you
clients don't know what you're saying.
drive your knees out, they go woof
So
right
if
the
you
way
say,
out. They will
if
do.
you say drop into a squat, sit all the way to the floor, well, all right, I'll put my bum on the floor then, because you just fucking said that, didn't you? So you have to be absolutely accurate with what you're moving first, how you're standing, breaking it down, and that's the way, me and Jay have trained or taught clients all that way, and it sticks with people. People never forget being trained at Equilibrium and what we've done, which is, I suppose, why where we are now.
Yeah. So EQ1 was a fucking vibe, unmatched. One of
Yeah.
the best studios in London, hands down. Let's go on to the next one. The other journey. This is
Really?
where shit spirals a bit, but we're all where we are supposed to be now because of it. So it's
Of
a
course.
blessing in a very,
course.
very, very shitty disguise.
I'll do the first bit.
Yeah, please. Let's go. Whoever don't know it.
So people who don't
You're
know the
about to
story,
know.
me and Jay have Equilibrium One, and we create this beautiful TRX class, which no one can kind of recreate in London, as hard as they tried. Yes.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is, the confident one. They really couldn't, and we were just too small. So all these other big gyms who were doing, average TRX classes or doing whatever, like, copying Barry's or Barry's themselves, we wanted to compete because we knew we could coach better than they could, and we knew our concept would be more beneficial.
We're
and
better
help.
than you.
Well,
You know.
yeah, well, you know what? We do. Yeah, we needed a bigger concept. Now, Jay's a better businessman than I am, but I'm the person who can do all the PowerPoint and Excel and Photoshop and all the creative stuff, right? But together, we didn't have enough in us to create a business plan, to create a massive scalable business. We had the concept, but we didn't know how to do it or get the money in. So we had this client who I was friends with beforehand, who I trained for 6 years and trusted implicitly. They came in, said, I'll help you. They did this Excel spreadsheet and PowerPoint and sent it to me, and I was like, at the time, struggling to kind of comprehend how to do it. And I saw it, and it looked like matrix code to me, and I thought, fucking hell, they're a genius. Let's bring them in. So they came in as a third of Equilibrium 2. And we started setting it up, and along the way, there were warning signs that me and Jay ignored in this person, and people who were meeting them about investing or whatever were warning us, and me and Jay were going, no,
No chance, yeah.
we trust them implicitly. You're just trying to get in the way of our dream, which along the way there's been a lot of people trying to stop me and Jay along the way, a lot of people, and so we were just ignoring it and going straight for our dream. We were right, we knew what we wanted, we had our belief, we had our concept, we just wanted it more than anything, and that was the problem. We were blind by what we wanted. I'll let Jay take over from here because I'll just start swearing.
Yeah. So it's funny because I was training a client, and a client was questioning me at the time on a few things, and I couldn't answer. And my client said, "You don't know your business." And I was like, "What did you just say to me?"
How dare you?
I was like, "What do you think?" And it honestly riled me up so much. I was like, "What do you mean I don't know my business?" Because I was so focused on, when we open this new studio, if these new trainers are not ready, we're not going to have a business. Because we're going from 3 classes a day to 11 classes a day. That's a different beast. And our biggest problem was, can you halve Jay and Niko? Can you dilute it into other people? I was like, of course we can. I was like, well, you haven't proven that yet. So I was like, so focused on that, that it can't just be me and Niko teaching all the classes, because that's not scalable, is it?
Yeah, not at all.
So I was like, right, so my switch went towards training new trainers as much as like giving them my soul. Hence,
I
what we
was
just
there.
talked
I
about.
was
Exactly, you're
right.
there.
Yeah, I was there.
But again, I didn't know my business, and it's very, very true, and I will always remember that my client said that to me. So, as Niko said, we opened up this fantastic new studio, and thankfully, for reasons that we won't go into, we didn't have anything signed, which was the lucky part. And then we opened the studio.
I mean, I'll go into it.
And we opened
we'll
the
run that back.
we
We'll
opened
run
the
that
studio, and then I'll chuck it back to Niko. He obviously wants to talk about that.
Yeah, what happened
Hi
from
everyone,
there, Nick?
video. I'm not fucking stopping there. You kidding me?
Yes, go on. By the way.
First of all, before I go on about what this person did or what, it wasn't their fault. It was my fault and Jay's fault for not seeing it and letting it happen. We took our eye off the ball. We went down the training route. I was focusing on what social media was going to be, and just left it. It was almost like, because when it's your business, right, you should be involved in all of it. So that's the biggest thing for everyone, right? Like, this is your podcast, Callum, right? Don't let anybody tell you how it's done. You do it your way, as real as it gets. That's what you wanted. Don't let me influence it, right? but we did, and we were letting this person tell us how it was going to go in all aspects, but we took our eye off the business and we just went, yeah, you do that, because that bit's stressful, I don't want that bit. Tough shit, mate. It's your business, should do it, and that's what me and Jay have learned. To the point now where me and Jay are slightly annoying to other people now, because we don't kind of, which
Like,
we want
you
to know
want
what's
it your way
happening.
because you've had
We
that
want,
shit,
we want it, you know, like not our way, but we want everything to work really well.
The right way.
And this person was just all over the shop, and that all over the shop is why Jay said, for reason being, we were lucky. We hadn't signed a shareholders agreement because they hadn't organised anything. So that mess led to a lucky escape for us. But I'll let Jay continue. I just wanted to get we didn't have a shareholders agreement signed, so it allowed me and Jay to get out of a very sticky situation. But yeah.
And then, so obviously that shareholders agreement wasn't signed, but we'd agreed a certain price in which we were going to go in. So you have your working capital and whatever that number is. When we then built the studio and we got to it, where we got back to signing it, because we'd found an investor, which wasn't the investors we were supposed to go with, without going into it, the price had doubled. So because then it had doubled, well, then that changes everything.
Yeah,
you can't
fine,
just double it by a considerable amount, and then obviously you're adding more years onto something with no working capital, so there was still another crazy amount that was needed when it was a completely different number to what we'd all agreed in that particular room way back.
Yeah.
Basically changed from a dream to a prison sentence
Yes.
in 5 minutes.
So we were screwed.
And being told this, we just went,
Yeah.
having shut down the dream studio that was Equilibrium One, we didn't realise at the time as well, like we wanted to close it because it was too small and we weren't making
you're
loads of
small,
money.
yeah,
because
of
it was
course.
quite high rent rates.
Not in here, isn't it?
And it wasn't big enough to get enough people in to imagine the dream that me and Jay had put together, or the concept. So I remember that meeting and,
Oh my God.
and the reality of it, and the sweat coming out of my body and the heart rate and the feeling in my guts. Just realised what a massive mistake we'd made in this person, and taking our eye off the ball and not noticing anything. It was just like, right, to make this successful now, you're going to have to work for about 112 years to pay it back, and then you might make a profit. It was just like, oh my God.
And then that was the crazy thing. So obviously, because we hadn't had anything signed and this particular person had done what they'd done, it was technically their studio. So we weren't really Equilibrium. It wasn't that. So we had no choice. Our ankles were tied and we were pushed. Or, like Niko said, go sign that prison sentence, which we didn't agree that.
Yeah, of course.
And you know that, but now you're pretending that you don't. So therefore, we have no choice.
Yeah.
So me and Niko had to leave. So 2 weeks later, after that meeting, we're sitting in Leon in King's Cross, and I'm like, we gotta go. And he's like, yeah. And we left on that Thursday night, and I said, we never ever step foot in here again, no matter what comes, what happens. But again, we were very, very immature in business, where I was thinking something bad could happen, but it couldn't, because we weren't legally tied to it, so it doesn't really matter. So anyway, we left that studio, and we spent all that time with you guys.
Yeah.
We had an amazing launch party. We were flying. We were from the get-go, 30 people a class, and it was doing well. And it just went boof.
Yeah, it did.
I said to you the other day, it was like in the Avengers, it was like the Hulk walking up to someone, and then someone goes poof,
Oh, yeah,
hits you
straight
out
up.
of, and it was like a sledgehammer hit us, and I was like, what? It's not my fault. And then you have that moment where you think to yourself, why me?
Yeah.
Well, but then you go, well, no, shut the fuck up and deal with it, because it has happened to you. So get on with it. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
You're going to lie down, or you're going to go get up? And it's as simple as that. So I was like, well, I'm not going to lie down, because I didn't fail.
Yeah.
I just tripped up on one little
I'm
step.
not about that life.
So fuck that, I'll be back.
Yeah.
So then the very next morning we woke up, and I looked at him, and it was when we lived together, and I was like, and he goes, and it was the day of Balance Festival. I was like, what now? He goes, we'll do it again. And then we went back to just personal training.
Yeah.
And
That
then-
must have been tough though, no?
That was hard.
Obviously dealing
Yeah,
with that,
I-
but then having to PT again, and you literally were starting from fucking scratch.
I struggle a little bit more with it.
I bet.
'cause
Like, fucking is tough,
I've got the bigger ego. So, having developed Equilibrium for 6 years, this beautiful brand that, with no marketing capital, that we just grew on social media,
Yeah,
just through things like
yourself.
TRX headstands, TRX handstands, lovely montages that people just fell in love with, and normal people doing extraordinary things on the TRX. to have to walk away from that after 6 years, and it still actually gets me a little bit now.
Yeah.
It hurts, and to rebuild it, we did it because we built magic beforehand, and someone had remembered it. And there's this wonderful woman called Alex Perryman who owns a business called
I remember that.
Seven Stones Marketing Agency, and she messaged me and said, "Do you want to use my studio? It's got 6 TRX points. It's a conference room with a wood floor, so quite slippy, beautiful lighting in the background." So me and Jay started again. Jay went to Lee's place for a bit.
Yeah, and went up to another studio.
Yeah.
It was like we jumped in a Back to the Future car.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just went, boop.
Yeah, we went back 6 years. So we had to we built this brand, and then we made this massive studio, and of course, I had to eat humble pie, right? Because me being the ego and the mouthy one, I would always criticise other studios, say they're not doing it right. That's not to say I wasn't wrong,
Yeah.
but they were still really successful no matter what, right? They built up formulas and programs and really, really clever marketing campaigns and beautiful colours and I've got envy for these other studios. As much as I attacked them, I was jealous, right? So and it's great. So we fucked this up, and then it hit me the hardest because I'd done all that, and I had to swallow the fact that me and Jay like Jay just said, we went back in time, and it was just like, fuck. So I still got a little bit of anger inside me now, which you can probably hear coming out here.
Yeah, you would.
So to restart it, we went back to the drawing board. Jay went back to PT in another place. I went back to that Seven Stones place. But what I would do, and Jay would come there every so often, every time they were in there, I would make clients do these extraordinary things and video them, put it up on the EQ profile, because we retained the Equilibrium Instagram, thank God. And it made it look like we were busy, like we were thriving immediately. And then we did
Retreat.
we did a retreat
Yeah, I
in
remember that.
OC Island,
Yeah.
which what was it, 15 to 20 people?
Yeah, two people flew over from Germany for it.
Yeah, someone
the
came over from
Munich
Ireland,
one.
someone came
yeah.
from
They love you
Germany,
lot, didn't they?
and Equilibrium felt like it was still magical and still alive. When of course, me and Jay were just clawing our way back. And it took me a while to recover from that.
Yeah. I fucked off about a year after. I thought,
Yeah, and
I'm
then
done with this.
9 months
Started
on,
my own thing.
9 months on, so then Jay's doing a little bit more in that studio. He's coming away from where he was up in at the top of Labatt Grove, and we're getting our vibe back, and we're getting our momentum back. And then suddenly, in the background, TRX get bought out by a company called Equity 38, led by the chairman and CEO Brent Leffel. Great man. Who then they buy out over half of TRX, so they own it. So they go to Randy Hedrick, the founder and creator of TRX, and say, we want an ad. So at that time, TRX are sales, are product, so they sell TRXs, a couple of other functional pieces of equipment, and their education. So they train trainers to become TRX trainers. Great. But they're missing that other element of the business, which me and Jay were always practicing, which was teaching classes or boutique offering. So Brent says to Randy, who's the guys in the world that are the best at teaching TRX? And Randy, God bless him, had always remembered our social media, and we'd met him a couple of times.
You've done like a gym box event with him, though.
Yeah,
I
but this
remember
was after, and he
Yeah.
was like, you've got to go see Niko and Jay.
Yeah.
They're the guys that can do it. And but Randy came over after that, didn't he, Jay? So after he'd said that, so we met Brent first.
Yeah.
Then Randy and Fraser came over and did an event in Gym Box in Victoria. That was it.
Yeah.
Where they brought some influencers down, but it was the first time Randy and Fraser had done a Jay and Niko class.
Yeah.
And they'd never seen anything like that before. Then we went out for dinner the night before, and it was such a nice dinner, Jay, wasn't it? And you could see that they'd realised, even though Randy had said it previously, that you got to go see these guys,
Yeah.
you could
They
see
started to believe it as
now
well.
he was
Yeah.
like, I'm right, like they've got this concept. And Brent came over and met us. Then we flew over to San Francisco, and we pitched a physical studio idea to TRX. But the hits kept coming, Callum. So TRX loved it, and they're like, right, look, we're gonna try and do a little deal with you guys and bring you on, and so you can open up a physical boutique in either LA or London. And it was a concept that me and Jay had designed previously, and we fully believed in it, and they believed in it. We fly back from San Francisco. A week later, COVID.
Fuck.
Physical idea gone. So that's another 9 months of work
Yeah.
to effective pitch meetings, done, game over.
These people can't say you're not resilient as fuck.
Oh, mate.
So then Jay will tell the next bit about how we get to where we are now, which
Yeah.
is just a
'Cause this
magical
is the
story.
So,
juicy bit now.
yeah,
You've gone
so-
through the shit and now.
Well, but again, do you know what though? Just to sign that little bit off, I wouldn't fucking change a thing. Of
Yeah,
what's happened.
we said this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said this.
I
the other day.
swear to God, I wouldn't change a thing because it made me sharper.
Yeah.
It made me harsher, and not from a nasty perspective.
Yeah, I know, but you just
of,
be fucking aware
I
of
now
everything
understand what my client said to me. I want to know my business. I want to know why, how, what we're doing, where we're going. Like, you've got to be all over everything. Just got to be ruthless. And I wouldn't change it. I swear to God. It's made me an animal. I was before. Now she's made me even more. Just pushed it even more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then Niko walks in my bedroom one morning when we were living together in Corona, and he says, I think we should run our TRX class on Zoom. And I was like, what? And for years and years and years prior to it, Nico was saying, we've got to go online, Joe, we've got to go online. And I was like, nah.
That's actually.
I was like, nah, like, what are you on about? What are you on about? And then I was like, right, well, we'll try it. So we struck the TRX over my door in the living room, and the only place we could do it was on a door that opens out, which you can't do with TRX, but we needed the space in order to see it. So we slid all the sofas out the way, and Niko was sitting against the door, because obviously I'm so big, I pulled the friggin' door off.
Yeah.
So we've actually got a video of it, but I teach it on Zoom, and we have 42 people sign up. And I'm like, bing, light bulb moment.
That's it.
So then I phone Brent and I say, mate, can we jump on a call? So we have a call with Brent, and I'm like, you need to take this class and run this class every day, every week, and train trainers, and we go digital. And he's like, yeah, but how are we gonna? And then we talk more. We then get 250 people come in and we test it out for the next 8 to 9 months while we're building a platform in the background. And we form TRX Live.
And you train the new
TRX Live,
trainers.
and we're training new trainers, and we
now.
bring all the methods that we were bringing in physically with you guys, and they all start to make sense digitally. And I'm thinking, holy shit, like
Right.
this is all just slotting into place, and it's making sense, and it's, yeah. So then obviously we find a studio, my father comes up and builds the studio, and we have TRX Live, which is now a digital worldwide training platform where we have 9 trainers in the UK. We have 4 trainers in the US where we'll build the US side, and it's currently building now. TRX Live will open there. We have an on-demand section which is formed of the umbrella of TRX Training Club. And now we've got access to go worldwide at $19.99 subscription model. And you can train from us anywhere, any place in the world. All you need is a TRX. You can chuck it over a door, over a pole, over a lamppost, or in any gym in the world. And yeah, it's pretty exciting.
What's the end goal for both of you? 'Cause
World.
It might be separate.
World.
No, but not even including TRX, but your overall end goal. Obviously, I know you want to make this fucking as big as it could be.
So
which
my
it will.
goal is, we've got stupid amounts of belief in TRX because I think it's fucking phenomenal for you. I have to know if we are right. That's like, for me, like that's it. I don't care if it doesn't work. I just want to go the distance. I want to know if we're right, because every single time we've been bumped, we've been pushed, we've been tripped.
Yeah.
But not now. Well, touch wood. But I feel we've got to that point now where I needed to go through all that.
100%.
And I hear like a lot of world champions from boxing, and they're like, it's all about time. It's all
Yeah,
about
yeah.
time. And I'm like, I know what that means, but why are you saying that?
Yeah.
I now know exactly what that means. It's all about time.
What about
It
you, Nick?
really is, if you really think about it. It just has all suddenly gone, you know?
Yeah.
So my end goal is just to see if we're right. I don't care if it doesn't work. I honestly don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I love what I do. I love helping people. And I believe it will, because you hear passion coming out of my
Yeah, yeah.
voice. But what will be. But I fucking love my job, you know? And that's it for me. I just want to know, and I want to go the distance.
Good.
That's it.
How are you topping that, mate?
Mine's different, Callum. I want it all. Like, I
The
think
world, Chico.
I do. I want it all. Otherwise, that we need to want to go back to what we said at the start, being a princess and saying I'm never going into a gym ever. I knew I could, do something big help people. Certainly, it's all about getting people to do what they thought they couldn't do and feel better and feel stronger, right? But I know that me and Jay have got skill and talent that we have, you know, I suppose, like you're reading from a medieval text, like bestowed upon us by our parents, right? We've been given a gift, me and Jay. And like Jay, I do want to see it go the distance, but TRX for me is the love of my life. And like Jay said, I want to see it go worldwide and global. It's nice now that I'm not bitching about London gyms anymore. I don't have to worry about London anymore because I'm going after the world.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want everybody in the world doing TRX, coming on, thousands of people on the end of that screen who I can help and influence with our trainers, whether it be me or whether one of our trainers on TRX Live or on demand through the TRX Training Club all over the world. Because it deserves that. Jay's right. TRX is that good, but it's our job to educate people on why it is that good. And it's gonna be a big fight because there's gonna be people trying to stop us along the way because they always have and they won't win. So yeah, I want the world, I want the recognition, Callum, and I want to travel the world doing it. Jay's happy doing his job from London. I want to go around the world.
Nice.
That's it.
Two bases. I always end we're going to have to keep this within 5-6 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I end every episode the same. Everyone's answer is always different. What's your definition of happiness? It's a fucking tough one. Every time I ask someone, they go, they freeze, and it's a hard one.
Definition of happiness.
You got time to think, Nick?
I already know mine.
Go on then, you go.
There you go.
Because
Joke.
no, as harsh as I can sound sometimes, or as cocky as I can sound, it really is just all about love and being comfortable in your life. It doesn't matter about being a multi-millionaire. It's just about being comfortable and being able to share it with someone that you love, I think.
Yep.
I've had it once, so I know what it feels like.
Yeah.
And there isn't anything better than that.
I like it. I like that.
Mine's kind of obviously the same sort of answer, but like, I'm so happy now. Like, I just said to you, I love what I do, and I feel like it's just gone.
So you'll
And
just continue being in this moment.
Yeah, of course. Like, I'm in it now. Like, I don't need to go down the fucking rooftop bar to take a fucking photo and put it on Instagram and say I'm having a good time. I don't give a shit. I'll go home. Like, hey, I'm walking down the fucking shop. Great, well done. Like, I can go home and I can watch football and I can go to bed and I get into bed every night and I go, I genuinely helped people today, and I get messages all the time for it. And I don't like, obviously it's really nice that I do, but I know I'm making a difference.
I like
And that's just, I'm just
Hey, great
just
fucking
happy.
answers.
That's all it is.
I'll go back into it actually, right? It's love, but also I have, and I imagine this is probably a therapy thing for me. Jay, if you think about where Jay started from, right? So, you know, you have this small dude, nervous and scared of school, academically struggling, pulls out. So Jay goes from what he would probably consider nowhere to the director of trainer development at TRX. So Jay is always happier every time. He's always progressing. I was very good in school. You know, A student, A and 2Bs at thing, always the top at every physical thing in school, the best in school, best at athletics, best at kickboxing, best. Go to university, basically get shit-faced for 3 years, and then kind of stumble, and then don't know where I'm going. So I'm basically great at everything, and then suddenly I'm great at nothing. So I'm nowhere. So I have this deep-rooted fear of not recognizing my potential, and that's where we differ.
We had this talk.
So
once.
I'm always chasing.
I asked you
Jay's
what
like,
your biggest fear was, and you
I'm
said
just progressing,
Yeah.
whereas I'm like
Yeah,
constantly trying to get up to that point. And I suppose the point of it is, you know, the love thing. I'd love to fall in love and find that person and then share everything with her, but I also I've got to do better.
Yeah.
It's constant, and I imagine that'll probably chase me. Remember that Matthew McConaughey speech?
Yes.
Who said,
Yeah.
I think about myself in 10 years and that he's my hero because I'm always chasing him,
Yeah.
so I'll never actually get there. I think that's the same for me.
Good. Right, that's a wrap. thank you both for everything you've done
Thank
for
you,
me.
Carl.
For me personally, fucking
problem,
really
mate.
appreciate you both.
Pleasure.
And thank you for coming on. Episode 9, done and dusted. The brothers.
Thank you, mate.
Can't wait to re-listen.
Yes. Bosh.
It's good, Carl.
Lovely.